Welcome back, my friends, to the one and only mobile gaming recap series where I share and discuss the most interesting mobile games I played last week so that you guys can get a quick overview and, of course, figure out if you want to play these games for yourself. And if that is the case, you can head down to the description box and I've left all the download links for both Android and iOS for all of today's 4 games down there for you guys, very conveniently. If you're new around here, by the way, welcome to the show. I hope you'll enjoy this video and that you'll subscribe for much more mobile gaming goodness. I've covered so many mobile games already here on the channel, so head over there and check out the backlog of videos if you haven't already. There's everything over there, from MMORPGs to RPGs to shooter games to strategy games. I don't know. There's something for everyone, almost. Maybe there aren't that many sports games, but apart from that, there's lots of great stuff on there. Now, the games I've got for you today include a Pac-man-inspired roguelike game, a strategy game about building our very own religion, a World War II combat flight simulator, and a unique action fighting game. And today's first game is perfect if you've always wondered, as I'm sure many of us have, if you could out-pope the Pope, because God Simulator Religion Inc. is a strategy simulation game about building and expanding a religion that can take over the entire world before atheism does. The gameplay is slightly reminiscent of Plague Inc. in that we pick which upgrades to buy to strengthen our religion in various ways. Each country in the world has 2 characteristics that define how well its citizens respond to different types of religions. So that means that when prioritizing which upgrades to buy, it is very important that we try to get a good mix of traits so that we can both satisfy poor and rich, peaceful and militant countries alike. Starting at year 0, time moves at around 2 in-game years per real-life second, which puts quite a bit of pressure on expanding as fast as possible. And the way to do that is by buying upgrades which cost prayer bubbles, which we receive a steady flow of from converted countries. But to make things more interesting and oftentimes also much more difficult, unique random events that may positively or negatively impact our religion and the world also occur from time to time. There are lots of potential upgrades to buy in this game, but the main downside is that some of them seem unbalanced and useless, while others are almost mandatory to be able to win the game. The low poly art style and UI work well for this type of game though, and the controls are also very simple. God Simulator Religion Inc. monetizes through frequent forced advertisements and incentivized ads to enable auto-collecting prayer bubbles or to receive a free upgrade. These ads can all be removed through a single $2.99 in-app purchase that also lets us fast forward time, which is very convenient when you just want to farm some more prayer bubbles so you can upgrade faster. An additional $1.99 in-app purchase also unlocks all religion archetypes, which adds more traits to upgrade during gameplay, but these can also be unlocked for free through just gameplay and winning matches. It can be played offline, takes up 217 megabytes of space, and if you're willing to pay to remove the ads, Religion Inc. provides a fun experience that so far seems to get better with every balance update, so I think it's worth checking out. Now, this next game I decided to include because I know there's a big chance you enjoy Soul Knight, great game by the way. If you haven't played it yet, you should definitely go check it out, and Dungeon of Weirdos is a Pac-man-inspired roguelike arcade game made by the Soul Knight indie developer Chili Room. The goal in this game is to survive 18 randomly generated one-screen mazes full of monsters, blue orbs, items, and diamonds in one play session. Much like in Pac-Man, to continue to the next level, we first have to collect all the blue orbs while killing enemies by placing bombs and collecting diamonds to use our character's special attack. To help us deal with the increasingly stronger enemies and bosses, we also get to pick one of 3 power-orbs that last until we die every time we've acquired 100 blue orbs. And these orbs we collect can then be used between deaths to unlock new characters with different stats and abilities, which adds a breath of fresh air to the otherwise slightly repetitive gameplay experience. The grayscale pixel art style isn't super impressive, and the gameplay, although simple, is also slightly confusing, at least in the beginning of the game. As for the controls, once we start moving our character in one direction, it'll continue moving until it either hits a wall or we move in another direction. This control scheme works alright, but it is tricky to activate bombs and abilities at the same time. Dungeon of Weirdos, what a great name by the way, monetizes through incentivized revive ads and then in-app purchases up to $4.99 US to unlock some of the characters and acquire more orbs instantly. The game can be played offline, it takes up only 192 megabytes of space, and although very challenging, the game is relatively quickly completed, so it's worth considering checking out out for any arcade roguelike fan. I've got a fun action game saved for last this week, but before we get to that, I wanted to share another great game called Gunship Sequel World War II, which is a realistic combat flight simulator with both single-player dogfights and real-time multiplayer missions. The core gameplay loop in this game has us play missions to earn XP used to buy upgrades for our existing planes and of course unlock new ones. Since we only have training and instant dogfight single-player matches, the game is primarily PvP oriented, where we have arcade, historic and realistic multiplayer modes. Unfortunately though, PvP is very difficult to get into due to seasoned players absolutely obliterating us new players. It's also a rather difficult game to master, and especially since there are no tracer ammunition or target lock feature, which means that everything has to be controlled and aimed manually. And in addition to that, since the maps are incredibly large, we can fly for long periods of time without seeing any enemies, which makes the game feel somewhat slow-paced. But while this makes the game difficult to get into as a casual player, this realism and difficulty is exactly what appeals to many fans of realistic flight simulators. The gyroscope controls work alright for controlling our plane, but it also does once again make it tricky to maneuver and shoot as a new player. So essentially, the game is great if you can get into it, but it takes a bit to get good at. Gunship Sequel World War II monetizes through in-app purchases for gold used to unlock premium planes, and a supporter subscription that provides 25% extra XP, access to instant dogfight single player, and the ability to create new rooms in multiplayer. This subscription is almost required to fully enjoy the game, and it costs $199 per month or $15.99 for an entire year at a time. The game can be played offline, it takes up 1.3 GB of space, and if you're willing to spend money on the subscription, Gunship Sequel can provide one of the better realistic single-player combat flight simulator experiences on mobile. So despite the flaws that this game certainly also does have, I think it's worth considering checking out if you enjoy the genre and you don't mind paying. But now for something a bit less realistic. Bangbang Rabbit is a fun action game that mixes one-finger death punch-inspired character controls and combat mechanics with roguelike progression systems for a unique and engaging fighting experience. The core gameplay loop has us enter and fight our way through levels that each include multiple waves of increasingly stronger enemies. If we survive every wave, we get a bunch of gear and gold rewards that we can then use to improve our character and permanently increase its stats before entering the next level. If we lose though, we have to start all over from wave 1 again. Like in many roguelites, we occasionally also get to pick between 1 or 3 power-ups that last until we die again. This allows us to play around with different strategies for each playthrough, and it adds a bit of replayability. The game also features various event game modes, and it has an absolute abundance of quests, achievements and daily login rewards, which is something I know some players really like and others would rather be without. During combat in this game, we simply tap either side of the screen to dash and attack in that direction, or tap buttons to trigger abilities. This control mechanism works well, but it also creates a very low skill ceiling that means that winning levels rely to a certain extent on gear and the power-ups we pick, no matter how well we play. Bangbang Rabbit monetizes through a very high number of incentivized video advertisements that are pushed heavily in our purchases for a premium currency and packs that lets us progress faster, and then an energy system limiting our maximum play session length. So the monetization is on the heavy side in this game, but I haven't yet experienced any actual paywalls, so the game can still be enjoyed by free players who don't mind the incentivized video advertisements. It can be played offline, takes up 327 MB of space, and despite this monetization, I think it's actually worth checking out for its unique gameplay experience. So what do you think about today's games? Let me know in the comment section down below. I look forward to engaging with you guys down there, and then on your way out, maybe you can leave a like if you enjoyed the video, because then, until next time, just keep gaming, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys around. Monetizes through incentivized revive ads and then in-app purchases up to $4.99 in-app purchase. $4.99 in-app purchase? $4.99 US dollars. So that means that when prioritizing which upgrades to buy, it's very important that we try to get a good mix of traits so that our religion can satisfy